support the game, and we appreciate you a great deal. The National Football Foundation is an unbroken chain of some of the nation's greatest leaders that we have in the country. And as you saw from the early days when we were created by Grantland Rice, and if you didn't know who he was, he's the guy that created the saying about the four horsemen of Notre Dame. Red Blake, who has more players in the College Football Hall of Fame than any other coach in the history of the game, and General Douglas MacArthur. And now we have a national board, and you were introduced to Edgar Weldon from Birmingham, and our board includes Bill Battle from Alabama, a terrific football player himself, but Archie Manning is our chairman, and we've got such national leaders as Tim Cook of Apple and Jeff Immelt of GE, Jerry Jones and Robert Kraft from the NFL, and other great players like Archie Griffin, Ronnie Lott, Kevin Plank of Under Armour, and Roger Staubach. And when you have an opportunity to think about all of the wonderful coaches and the players that have had their hands on this trophy beginning in 1959, you realize the great success and how hard it is and how wonderful it is to be able to present this trophy, especially to a program like Alabama, where it's hard to stay at the top and it's hard to do what Coach has done because of the magnificent history that you have. So to be here today is terrific, and for me personally, this is great. I've been on this job now 12 years, and this is the fourth time that I've been able to present this to Coach Saban. So talk about something very special. So having said that, and having been a conference commissioner, my social media will light up tonight that will be, well, Hatcher, why don't you just send it to Coach Saban? So you can see where that goes. A little story that you'll all appreciate. Our offices are in Dallas, Texas, and we have a small staff, and in the summer we have a wonderful group of interns that join us, and they do an awful lot of work for the things that we put out during the course of the year. This past summer, we had an Alabama intern. His name is Henry Schneider, and he's a manager trainer on the football team. He graduated. Very proud, very, very proud member of Coach Saban's staff and to be a manager. And as it turned out, is one of the truly great, not only people, but what a wonderful intellect that we had with him this past summer. And one of the things that we do is that as the meeting winds down, we laugh and joke about, well, who's won national championships around here in football? And the staff is from all over the country, and you get, well, we won one, or we shared one, or none, or, you know, it doesn't say much. And we get down near the end of the table as we work through, and Henry, who picks and chooses his slots very carefully, he says 15. And everybody went, whoa, and he leaned back in and he said, on the way to 16. So you know what we called him all the rest of the summer. So I'd like to point out another very special connection that I have with Coach Saban, and we've talked about this a great deal. One of the coaches that I had when I was at Colorado was a defensive coordinator named Don James. And Don James remained a very dear friend until he passed away. And he was not only a really special coach, but he was really a special person. And when you look on here in 1991, you see the University of Washington, where Coach James really made a name for himself at a program that did not have a lot of success, and he went to Washington and he had great success. The significance of this trophy is made up of those stories all around the country. The great thing about Don James was that he left that last year, and he went to Kent State, and one of the really truly great players that came to play for him when he recruited was Nick Saban. So it's a wonderful tribute to be able to, and I wish that Don James were here to see this all of the time, because he was so proud of Coach Saban. We often say that the MacArthur Bowl represents the pinnacle of team achievement, and I think you've seen all of Alabama's success last year, which was marvelous, was truly a complete team achievement. And we are honored to be here today to be able to present this trophy. And again, I'd like you to reflect on the fact of all of the wonderful coaches and the players that have earned this over the years. And to be able to give it to Alabama again is very, very special. So it's my honor on behalf of the National Football Foundation, our 12,000 members on a nationwide basis, our chairman Archie Manning, to present the MacArthur Trophy with Alabama's name etched in one of the side panels on this great stadium. And frankly, it's the most in school history, most of any school that we have on this trophy. So it's very special for you to join us today at this very wonderful moment. So at this time, I'd like to ask Coach Saban to come up, and congratulations, Coach.
Thank you very much. Thank you. It's certainly an honor for me to be here to receive the MacArthur Trophy on behalf of our entire team. I think when you get awards like this, sometimes I get way too much credit. This was a special team to coach, a special group of young men who did some phenomenal things. Lost early in the season. A lot of people sort of counted them out. They went through 12 straight elimination games that would have put them out of what they had set out to accomplish for the season, and did it probably in the more difficult fashion than any team that's won the national championship in the history of the BCS and the college football playoff, in that we played and beat 9 teams in the top 20, and 13 of the 15 teams that we played went to bowl games, and a Division II team went to the playoffs, or the Division I AA team went to the playoffs in their division. So we actually accomplished this playing one of the most difficult schedules. And I think that the character of this team was so special. The leadership that we had on this team was very special. But the way everybody sort of bought in, committed themselves to the principles and values of the organization, respecting each other, was something that maybe you don't get to see much. We don't get to participate in a lot, and this was probably the most fun team that we've ever had the opportunity to be around and coach. Our coaching staff did a great job with them, but this group I'll always remember. And we said that when we played the national championship game, what I said to them before the game was, look guys, this is a 60-10 game. You have 60 minutes to play, and then there'll be 10 minutes after the game where you're either going to celebrate and remember that celebration for the rest of your life, or you're going to be very disappointed and think for the rest of your life, what else could I have done to accomplish the goal that we had. So to share this with the players on our team was truly something special. The game that we had against Clemson was certainly a special game, probably one of the best games from a competitive venue standpoint that we've ever had the opportunity to participate in, and to win a game like that gives everyone a tremendous amount of positive self-gratification. So on behalf of every player on our team, every coach, our administration who worked so hard to set the table for us, all the former players like Kerry Good that's here today who made Alabama's tradition what it is through their blood, sweat, and tears. And all of you, the fans, who have supported our program, made it a special place to coach, a special place to be a player. I can't thank you enough for the way you've supported the program and made the tradition of Alabama football all that it is. So on behalf of the College Football Foundation, Dennis, Steve, Brad, I can't tell you how honored we are as an organization to receive the MacArthur Trophy, which is representative of one of the great leaders, Douglas MacArthur, that we've ever had. So thank you very much, and roll tide. Thank you.
Coach, you just took away most of my questions, but I'm going to ask you a couple anyway.
That's good.
That's good.
I might not answer them.
You might not. You usually don't when I come over to Tuscaloosa.
We actually have a lady that comes in, a public relations person, that teaches us how to bridge questions so that we don't...
You're really good at it. Yeah. You're really good at it. And when you get the hands going, we imitate you.
I get a lot of
You
practice.
know that, right? I got the whole Coke bottle thing from last year down to a science. I can almost do that.
Yeah.
You know, you just said Douglas MacArthur. I always thought you'd be a pretty good general. You kind of are, aren't you?
Well, I think it takes a certain amount of leadership, and obviously Douglas MacArthur was a great leader and had significant accomplishments in very difficult circumstances with a lot of adversity to overcome, leading and inspiring a lot of people to do something that was significant, I think, in the World War II effort in the Philippines. So some kind of way, leadership is ability to develop relationships with people to help them take advantage of their opportunities and sort of make sure they have the work ethic and discipline to accomplish it, and that's what I see my job being, and I think maybe being a general would be a similar task.
You look up at the guys on the video that have had this trophy or had their school's name etched in there. Do you ever give yourself the time to just sit back and go, wow, I won a lot more than those guys did? I mean, we're talking about some pretty good coaches, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, there's some great coaches, and I don't even consider myself in that class, to be honest with you. I was glad to see Coach James's name mentioned here today, who, in my mind, for me, was the greatest coach, because he was my college coach and impacted me in a lot of different ways and helped me even get in this profession, or inspired me to get in this profession. But a lot of great coaches up there to accomplish a lot of great things, but you know, when you're in it, I don't think that you ever think about it that way, because success is not a continuum. You know, it's momentary. You win a championship, you win a game, you celebrate, and then you have the next challenges that you have to look forward to, and that's sort of what we do. And when you're in the middle of it, I never really ever stop to think about things that way. It's the next challenge, the next team. How do we solve the problems to create, you know, the kind of team that maybe can be a part of winning another championship, or at least get them to play as well as they're capable of playing, and take something from the game that's going to help them be more successful in life.
And you always say you don't defend a title, you just go try to win a new one, right?
Well, there's nothing to defend. It's not like if you don't win this year, they take the last one away from you. They don't do that, do they? So you don't. It's just a challenge of, and I think it's more difficult. We were able to accomplish it once where we won back-to-back, but it takes a special group to do that, because it's not human nature when you have success to stay hungry, to stay driven, to be willing to do all the things that you did to accomplish the last success, to do it the next time. It's not human nature not to be complacent when you accomplish significant things, and these things are hard to overcome. I think our players have been around long enough to know the challenges, and the challenges have become even greater when you win, because you become the target for everyone else. Every time you play that team, they've got that game circled, and but our players are used to that. It's not for everybody, but I'm proud of the bunch we have, and I'm proud of the way they've responded to it through the years.
Football has been part of your entire life, mine too, to be honest with you. It's taken some shots lately, you know, whether it be college, pro, whatever. It's still a pretty important game, and I think it gets better all the time. I had this argument with somebody the other day. He said, you know what, 20 years from now, there's not going to be football. Everybody's going to be playing soccer or whatever. Football's here to stay. I guess it just has to change with the times a little bit.
And I recognize, you know, some of the criticisms we've taken in football, but look, I think there's tremendous value in the lessons that are learned in competition, competing in sports, and football is probably the greatest team game of all. There's more participants. It takes more participants. It takes more togetherness. It takes more people doing their job correctly to have a successful play, to have a successful offense, to have a successful defense. And I think the lessons of life that are learned in competition whether it's teamwork, together everybody accomplishes more, how to respect and trust principles and values of an organization that you may someday work for, that you're now learning because you're a part of a team, the positive energy and attitude that you have to be on a team so that you affect other people in a positive way. These are all things that create tremendous value, and most importantly, being responsible for your own self-determination, which is, we've defined an expectation for you. Now can you go do that to the standard that we ask you to do it? And that's basically what being a professional is. It's your profession, my profession. It's what being a professional is. And I think that can be learned in athletics and in sports, and that goes without saying, the hard work and discipline, right, that it takes to be a part of a successful team. So there's a tremendous amount of value, I think, in athletics, and I think football is a special game because it is a tough game. The mental and physical toughness that you have to persevere to play the game is something that, to me, has tremendous benefit in helping you persevere tough times in the future.
Last question for you. The Tide fans out here, maybe a lot of you were at the spring game. What are we looking forward to in 2016 in Tuscaloosa?
Well, I think that every team, in college, when you lose 25% of your team and you have 15 guys sign pro contracts, 7 drafted, 8 more free agents, that leaves challenges, it leaves holes on your team, it creates opportunity for other players, and you know, this is a work in progress to develop a team. And people say, well, do you have the leadership that you had a year ago? Or do we have as many weapons on offense as we had a year ago? Or what about the quarterback? But a year ago at this time, we never had any of those things either. All right, they were still developing. The leaders were assuming roles to be leaders and learning how to be leaders and how to affect other people. And there were still question marks about who was going to be the quarterback and who was going to fill certain voids left by players that had graduated. So these are all things that are work in progress that really don't come to fruition until you start playing games. And even then, they continue to develop. Like, think of our team from the Ole Miss game to where we were when we played Clemson. It was almost unrecognizable in terms of the improvement that was made, the confidence, the leadership, a lot of things. So we're not disappointed where we are right now, but we're not satisfied, and we're not where we need to be, and we're going to try to have a great summer and continue to work to try to have the best possible team that we can.
Well, I've spent a lot of time in Tuscaloosa with you avoiding my questions. I appreciate you answering some of them today.
I didn't answer the last one, but
and I will say,
you'd pick up on it.
Yeah, you skirted that one a little bit. I will say, that's the one city, I try to think about this over all the years that I've left, and I think the home team won every time. I can't say that about too many cities in college football. Thanks, Nick.
Well, thank you. And you know, one thing I'd like to say is this guy here is going to be joining CBS to take Vern's place, who's done a great job for a long time, and be with us in the SEC. And I'd just like everybody to know we couldn't have picked anybody better than this guy. What a great professional he is. Thank you.
Appreciate that. Steve and Dennis, come on up for a little photo op with the coach and the trophy.
Tripping on skies, sipping waterfalls. My youth is yours. Run away now and forever. My youth is yours. The truth so loud you can't ignore. My youth is yours. My youth is yours, tripping on stars, sipping waterfalls. My youth is yours, run away now.
Well, we're going to ask Coach Saban to come back next year if you guys don't mind. Would that be all right? We want to thank everybody for being here at the College Football Hall of Fame. Next year, it'll be a 59-year tradition of the MacArthur Bowl. Enjoy the hall. Enjoy Atlanta. Love the traffic. That's all you can do about it. Thanks, everybody.
You don't own me. You don't own me.
Well, let's go. But I'm Gerald, and I can always have just what I want. She's the baddest, I would love to flaunt. Take her shopping, you know Eve Saint Laurent.